Rabbi Avi Berman, Executive Director of OU Israel, and Keren Harush, resident of Sderot and former OU Israel Teen Center Advisor. Thank you very much for joining us. October 7th, as we begin every interview this day. Tell us about that day, Simchat Torah. Such a sacred day, such a day of happiness. Tell us a bit about that.
So, as you said, it's such a happy Chag. We woke up at 6:30, like everyone, with a large amount of rockets.
More than regular. It's hard for some people to comprehend this. Regular,
Mamash.
but yeah.
Yeah.
And you
more
still
than
right away
regular.
you understood that it was something different than normal again?
Yes. It was one after the other. We have an alarm which is called Tzeva Adom, and it was like over and over for over 10 minutes.
Wow.
My husband was in Tfilat Vatikin in the yeshiva.
An early prayer, wow.
Yeah. So he wasn't even home. I was pregnant. And I just closed the mamad, the door. And I was waiting for him to come. I didn't think that there was going to be any shooting. And I was waiting, and as he came home at around 10 to 7 in the morning, we hear shooting. Right when he was like coming in the door, we hear shooting. And then I
so first of all, we have to understand, he got home,
yeah,
and he could have met terrorists on the way.
He saw on the way
so sort
weird
of vehicle?
things. Yeah, he saw like tenderim, the cars that the mechabrim came with, and he didn't understand anything, and he was running under rocket attack.
He was running?
Yeah.
Wow.
So once he came home, I told him, take your phone and look at it right now, and his face said everything. Like, it was just...
Terrorists in the city?
Yeah.
Wow. Now... you go into the shelter when there's rockets. Do you know what to do, or is there true fear at that point that terrorists might come in the door?
You try to believe that not, but when you switch to survival mode, anything is relevant. I feel like that's the feeling. We just put furniture on the doors. We brought water because I was pregnant. We didn't have any food because the food was we were supposed to eat by his cousin. But we brought crackers. Like anything that you could think, we brought because we didn't know when it's going to end.
Really, how many hours were you in that situation?
30 hours.
30 hours. And did you also ask yourself, where is the IDF? Where's the Air Force?
Always. I, in the very beginning, I brought my husband to the bed, and I told him, we sat on the bed, and I told him, I'm going to say Shema Yisrael.
Wow.
I'm going to say a vidui that every Jewish says before they die. And you say it, and you also think about, all the youth that I'm working with. You think, wait, what about them? What about the what they're going through? Not every kid has a normal, family or parent. They don't know what to do. It was very scary. Our minds are there with them.
Wow. Now, we'll continue with the story in a moment. Rabbi Berman, now we're hearing this story. It's just one of so many stories. You weren't in that area, but for you, what do you remember from those days, understanding that we're under attack, and this is something we've never experienced in the past?
Well, first of all, it's seeing your own children, your neighbors all being called up, maher, to put on your uniform, seeing if they have a couple minutes to get an aliyah from the Torah before going out to battle.
Wow.
And just thinking, oh my gosh, Yom Kippur war. But from the moment that Simchat Torah was over, first thing I did was called Guy Nagar, who's our director of our program here, lives in Kfar Darom, and talking to him while he's whispering to me.
He was still whispering.
Still whispering. Motzei Shabbat, Motzei Simchat Torah, he was still whispering, as was Keren, as was all the staff. Keren didn't talk about the fact that she's crawling on the floor, 7 months pregnant. This way nobody sees her in the window to be able to go to the bathroom. again and again. And, nobody has to understand. Imagine what it is to be pregnant 7 months when you're in the safe room. But talking to my staff, and each one's telling me, yeah, my boys are standing here with knives in case the terrorists come into our house. Keren's husband telling me that he made the bracha already to die on Kiddush Hashem with God's name because he saw the terrorists already at the entrance to his house, and they tried to get in, and in some miraculous way they didn't come in. And then slowly starting to hear about the fact that we have students of ours, teens in our teen centers in Sderot, that their father was killed, the brother was killed, the sister was killed, and realizing that, oh my gosh, and I was on the phone till very, very late on Motzei Simchat Torah, and then we just started working on getting our staff out of where they were. Keren was able to get out with an ambulance because she literally was, feeling contractions. But getting each staff member out, and then our teens out, and then trying to figure out how we're dealing with each one.
Keren, let's just go back a bit to the story. So you were afraid that they were coming in, and you feel, looking back, that it was a miracle that they didn't.
Yes, it was a miracle. I always think about a week before that it was Yom Kippur, and everyone has their own book, and I really felt like my story is for life. So it's whoever goes to life and whoever
not to life.
didn't.
And when did you stop, and when were you able to comprehend what was going on? Because you mentioned you were in survival mode and you were taken out by ambulance. When did you look back and understand and take a breath for a moment and understand what was going on?
In the same day?
Yeah. When did you stop and comprehend?
I think only when Shabbos came out.
Next Shabbat.
Yeah. I think that I remember watching the news, and I was like, what's going on? And as I'm listening to the news, I hear shooting and bombing outside my window, which is crazy. I really felt like I didn't know what's going on. The news were right outside of our window, so it was they were explaining to me what's going on outside.
Now, as a community, and you mentioned your connection with the young boys and girls there, as a community, what can you tell us about the way the community coped, the way you helped as part of your activity, you and other people there helped the community, strengthen the community in these difficult days?
You mean today?
In terms of the teens, so throughout the year and a half, yes.
First of all, I think a few days after, people started going to the hotels, and right when that started, Rav Avi brought all the staff, and really he had a really good care for them. We really also reached to all the kids, to all the families, took them to pizza, to movie, to just relax.
Try to give them some sort of
normal
life.
Yeah, normal
and
life.
It's very important for people to understand. People here, they went to a hotel. Very, very difficult, very, very challenging. Maybe 1 day, 2 days, it could be a feeling of some sort of luxurious or something, but it's very, very difficult taking someone from their home, even if it's the hotel, right? It's important to understand that.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to also not be home and to go to different places and not to feel like you're in one place.
Also, understanding that you were kicked out of your home you
Yeah.
left your home because of a terrible.
Yeah, it is very hard.
Attack.
It's hard for the youth today. They feel not stable. They feel always scared. Even with all the help, you can't help with the safe situation in all Sderot.
Wow. Now that's in terms of the community, Rabbi Berman. Let's talk really about the nation. And the nation is coping. We've been through a lot. We've been through war. We don't know where we're holding at this point. Lots of heroism, bravery. And the nation is going through something. How do you look at it?
I just came back last night from the United States, where I spent time meeting with many people, men and women, that came on different OU missions throughout the past year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Standing with them literally in this location, as well as many other locations across the south, whether it's the Nova or it's Sderot, standing and hearing Keren's story and Liav's story and so many other stories of people that literally gave the lives of their most dearest and fought so hard in order to make sure that we'll be able to continue on. And then you see the endless appreciation that Jews around the world have for each and every one of them. And you're talking about a situation where you're standing in shul, and it makes no difference. I'm speaking in shuls all over North America. Mm-hmm. And you stand up in shul, and you're giving over the simple messages that teenagers in our teen centers are asking me. Please go, first of all, give them a hug. Thank them that tell them that every time they come to Israel, every time they come to Sderot, every time they think they just bought a few candies in the makolet and they gave it to us, they think it's something small. It's not small at all. Tell them that whenever we're a soldier and we come and we see, American protein bars or American granola bars, and there's a little heart on it, love Jews from Los Angeles or love Jews from St. Louis.
The heart is more than the chocolate.
The heart is so much more than the chocolate. I just make sure it has an OU on it.
Of course.
But they talk about the meaning that the hug that they're getting from Klal Yisrael around the world means to them, and I'm hearing it again and again and again. Here, I was just talking to Keren. She went to Ohio with her husband to talk in OU Shul over there, and she's still in touch. She's showing me pictures from last week. They came to Israel, they came to Sderot, they came to give her a hug.
Wow.
It's bonding that is happening amongst the Jewish people that we have not seen in a long, long time. And last week we did a Chanukah Bayit of the new offices of the OU.
Israel, in Jerusalem.
And Liav and Chani, Chani lost her husband, Liav lost his father. He's a student of ours in our teen center. He walks into my office with a big closed box. And I say, Maze, what is this? So Chani tells me, this is a matana for you. I said, okay, thank you. She says, open it. They gave me this big, gigantic glass frame to put on my wall. And what is it? Mizmor Kuf, Mizmor L'Todah.
Todah, gratitude.
And he's saying, here's a lady who lost her husband, a 16-year-old boy that lost his father. And they're coming and telling me what we have to do is say thank you. Thank you to God. Thank you to the Jewish people. Thank you to the soldiers. Thank you to the families of those that have lost their loved ones or that have chatufim inside Gaza. Because they're literally giving the most dearest for the Jewish people. And the fact that we're able to stand and say Mizmor L'Todah, to say thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you stand here, you see what happened. But still, look at the amount of miracles that are happening to the Jewish people. Look, the fact that we're planting a forest here. The fact that this place is going to blossom. The fact that everybody's taking a plant from here and planting it across the country. And we're filling up the country with flowers. It shows that Klal Yisrael, this is not something new that we went through a hard time. But moving on. We're able to pick ourselves up and move to the next stage.
Keren, finally, a few words really about... You're back in Sderot, right?
Yeah, I also want to add what Rabbi Berman said, that when we were in the hotel, there was such chesed from the OU. You know what the feeling is to
from
get...
around the world.
Yeah,
wow.
the donations. You know what a good feeling is it to get a new sweater or new clothes or a new toothbrush, like any new things and not used things, like a used sweater or used clothes.
It's significant.
It just made us feel so, not just for me, for the whole people of Sderot, for the youth, for the it just made a good feeling.
So now as you're back in Sderot, and we're talking about Tu B'Shvat, a day of revival, of growing, of flourishing, how do you connect to this day?
Wow, so many. I connect to this day with a lot of emunah in
Faith.
the youth.
Mhm.
Yeah, faith with the youth of Sderot and the generation that's going to come from this.
Wow. It's on them.
Yeah, it's hard now and it's struggling, but you see how the kids are stronger, even though it maybe seems like it's lower and doesn't seem like that, but there's a lot more of emunah and a lot more of chozek, like
And their parents and their grandparents need them. I understand that it's also they feel that it's on them. And as teenagers of Sderot, I'm hearing so many stories of how they're the ones, they understand that it's on them to pick up and to strengthen their community. I want to say thank you very much. Rabbi Avi Berman, Executive Director, OU Israel, Keren Harush, resident of Sderot, former OU Israel Teen Center advisor. Rabbi Berman, let's end with a vort, as we say, a few words for Tu B'Shvat.
I think the most beautiful thing of this time of year, especially Tu B'Shvat, is when you walk with your children and you see in the street all these trees. You see them right here. They look dead. Mamash dead. It's a branch. There's nothing left. And you tell your kid, listen, this same walk that we're doing now, we're going to do it in 2 weeks. And in 2-3 weeks, we're going to see this tree again. Right now, you think, I'm giving up on it.
And right, and some ask, so why don't we mark Tu B'Shvat when our trees are blossoming around Pesach?
Because Tu B'Shvat is about understanding
Faith.
that we have to believe in what's inside. Okay? When working with teenagers, right? Keren does not succeed with working with teenagers because she doesn't see what's inside them. She doesn't look at the outside and say, look how he's dressed, I'm giving up on him. But she's looking at the teenager and saying, wow, look at what this kid is going to be in 10 years from now, in 20 years from now. And that's this time of year. It's looking at trees and saying, there's so much. Just in 3 weeks, we're going to see thousands of leaves on every single tree. Where are those leaves now?
But now we're marking Tu
They're
B'Shvat.
inside. That's what we're marking it.
Rabbi Berman, Keren Harush, thank you very much for joining us.